Captain Jeho Kim rubbed his tired eyes as he stared at the main screen of his ship. The ESS Dauntless had been on patrol at the edge of the solar system for 3 weeks now. Nothing exciting had happened so far, just endless stars, cold space, and the daily reports he had to send back to Earth Command. "Captain, I'm picking up something strange," said Officer Dae-sung, looking up from his scanner. "It's big, and it's not one of ours." Jeho sat up straight. "Show me." The main screen changed to show a dark spot moving against the stars. It was large, almost twice the size of the Dauntless, and shaped like nothing Jeho had ever seen before. It looked like a giant gray beetle with strange blue lights glowing along its sides. "Is it a comet? An asteroid?" Jeho asked, even though he knew it wasn't either of those things. The object was moving too purposefully. "No, sir," said Dae-sung, his voice shaking a little. "It's a ship, and it's heading straight for us." The bridge fell silent. Everyone knew what this meant. After decades of searching the stars and wondering if humans were alone in the universe, they finally had their answer. They were not. "Send a message to Earth Command," Jeho ordered. "Tell them we have made contact with a non-human ship. Also, send the peaceful greeting package on all channels." Haenul Park, the communications officer, nodded and began typing quickly. The greeting package had been prepared years ago by the best minds on Earth. It contained basic information about humans in simple pictures and sounds, as well as mathematical formulas that any advanced species should understand. "Message sent, Captain," Haenul said. "Should I try to hail them directly?" "Yes," Jeho replied. Standard greeting in all known Earth languages. Minutes passed. The alien ship grew larger on the screen as it approached. It showed no signs of slowing down. "Captain, they're not responding to our hails," Haenul said, worry clear in her voice. "Keep trying," Jeho ordered. "And bring us to yellow alert. Shields up, but weapons remain offline. We don't want to appear hostile." The crew moved quickly. Yellow warning lights began to flash around the bridge. "Sir," said Dae-sung suddenly. "They're scanning us. Very powerful scans. They're going right through our shields." Before Jeho could respond, the main screen flickered and changed. Instead of the alien ship, they now saw what appeared to be the inside of the vessel, and standing in the center of the screen was a creature that made several crew members gasp. It stood on 6 legs like an insect. Its body was covered in hard, dark plates that looked like armor. Its head had 4 eyes and a mouth full of small, sharp teeth that clicked together as it moved. 2 long antennae waved slowly above its head. "I am Supreme Commander Krall of the Vorax Confederacy," said the creature. Its voice came through the ship's speakers, somehow translated into English. "You are trespassing in space that now belongs to us." Jeho stood up straight. "I am Captain Jeho Kim of the Earth Federation ship Dauntless. We were not aware this space belonged to anyone. We come in peace and wish to establish friendly relations." The alien's 4 eyes blinked at different times. "Peace, friendship, these are concepts for equals, human, and you are not our equal." Jeho felt a chill run down his spine. "We may be new to interstellar travel, but we have much to offer. Trade, cultural exchange." "Your species is young, undeveloped," Krall interrupted, his mandibles clicking with what Jeho thought might be amusement. "You should be honored we choose to incorporate you rather than simply exterminate you." The bridge crew looked at each other in shock. "Incorporate us?" Jeho asked carefully. "Your planet has resources we require," Krall explained. "Your people will serve the Confederacy. Those who cooperate will live. Those who resist will not. It is simple." Jeho's hands clenched into fists. "Earth is a sovereign world with 8 billion people. We won't surrender to threats." The alien made a strange sound that might have been laughter. 8 billion. A small colony by our standards. "You have no choice in this matter. Your ship is now under our control." As if to prove this point, the lights on the bridge flickered. The ship's engines shut down. Even the artificial gravity wavered for a moment. "What's happening?" Jaiho demanded. "Sir, they've hit us with some kind of energy field," Dae-sung reported. "All systems are failing." "Hanul," Jaiho said quietly. "Launch the emergency beacon. Now." Hanul nodded subtly and pressed a hidden button under her console. "You will be brought aboard our vessel," Krall announced. "We wish to learn more about your species before we proceed to your homeworld." The screen went black. Moments later, a strange humming filled the bridge. Jaiho watched in horror as his crew members began to disappear one by one in flashes of blue light. "Hanul, get to the escape pod," Jaiho ordered quickly. "Take the ship's data. Earth needs to know what they're facing." Hanul hesitated, not wanting to leave her captain, but Jaiho pushed her toward the door. "Go, that's an order." As Hanul ran from the bridge, Jaiho felt the strange humming grow louder around him. His skin tingled, and the world seemed to fade away. When his vision cleared, he was standing in a large dark room. The air smelled strange, metallic and foreign. Around him stood the rest of his bridge crew, looking just as confused and frightened as he felt. In front of them towered Commander Krall, even larger in person than he had appeared on the screen. Behind him stood several other Voraks, each carrying what looked like weapons. "Welcome aboard the Dominion, flagship of the Voraks Confederacy," Krall said. "You are the first humans to have this honor." "Some honor," Jaiho replied coldly. "Kidnapping us and threatening our planet." Krall's antennae twitched. "Your defiance is noted, but pointless. Now you will tell us everything we need to know about Earth's defenses." "I will tell you nothing," Jaiho said firmly. One of the other Voraks stepped forward, holding up a small device. "You misunderstand, Captain. This was not a request." Meanwhile, Hanul Park had reached the small stealth escape pod and launched just as the Dauntless was pulled into the massive alien ship. The pod's systems were designed to avoid detection, using technology that bent light around its hull. "Please work," Hanul whispered as she activated the stealth mode. The pod's tiny engines pushed it away from the Vorak ship, heading toward the inner solar system. She looked at the data crystal in her hand. It contained everything the Dauntless had recorded about the alien ship, including their conversation with Krall. Earth needed to know what was coming. It would take 3 days to reach Earth in the small pod. Hanul set the course, and then recorded a message of her own. "This is Communications Officer Hanul Park of the EFS Dauntless. We have encountered an alien species called the Voraks. They are hostile and technologically advanced. They plan to invade Earth." She paused, thinking of her captain and crewmates now prisoners on the alien ship. "Captain Kim and the others have been taken. The Voraks believe we are weak and will surrender easily." Hanul's eyes hardened. "We must show them how wrong they are." Back on Earth, Admiral Tadawon Lee was awakened by an urgent call. Still in his nightclothes, he rushed to the command center beneath Seoul, where other military leaders were already gathering. "What's happening?" he demanded. General Min handed him a tablet. "Sir, we received this transmission an hour ago. It came from an escape pod from the Dauntless." Taiwan watched Hanul's message, his face growing grimmer by the second. When it finished, he looked up at the room full of officers waiting for his orders. "Contact every military base worldwide. Activate Project Nemesis." He turned to look at the large map of Earth, displayed on the wall. "They think we're primitive. They think we'll surrender." His eyes narrowed as he thought of the brave crew of the Dauntless, captured by these aliens who came not in peace, but with demands of submission. Let's show them how dangerous primitive can be. 6 months had passed since the Dauntless crew was captured. Earth had changed in that time. Cities now had shield generators. Military bases were hidden underground. Factories worked day and night, making weapons and ships. Everyone knew war was coming. Hanul Park was now a major, working directly with Admiral Tadwan at the main defense base under the mountains near Seoul. She hadn't forgotten her crewmates or Captain Jeho. Every day, she looked at the stars and wondered if they were still alive. "Major Park, the Admiral wants to see you," a young soldier said, breaking her thoughts. Hanul nodded and walked quickly to the war room. Inside, Admiral Ta-One stood with Defense Minister Su Jin Kang and other leaders around a large table, showing the 3D map of Mars and the space around it. "We've spotted them," Ta-One said without looking up. 5 Vorax ships heading toward our Mars colony. Hanul's heart beat faster. The enemy was finally here. "How many people are on Mars now?" 30,000, Su Jin answered. "We've been evacuating for weeks, but many colonists refuse to leave." Ta-One pointed to spots around Mars. "We have 3 defense ships hidden behind Phobos and 20 Nemesis drones ready to deploy. This will be our first real test against them." The Nemesis project had been Earth's secret weapon. Small, fast drones controlled by advanced AI that could learn and adapt during battle. No human pilots were needed, which meant no lives lost if they were destroyed. "When will they reach Mars?" Hanul asked. 12 hours, Ta-One replied. "I want you on the command ship overseeing the Nemesis units. You know the Vorax better than anyone." Hanul nodded. After months studying the data from the Dauntless, she had become Earth's top expert on the enemy. "I'll be ready, sir." The battle for Mars began exactly as the Vorax planned. Their ships appeared in Mars orbit and immediately started bombing the main colony. What they didn't expect was the response. From behind Mars moon Phobos, 3 Earth battleships appeared, firing new weapons based on technology that Earth scientists had been developing for decades. Alongside them came swarms of small black drones that moved too fast for the Vorax targeting systems. On the command ship, Hanul watched the battle unfold on the main screen. Nemesis drones 1 through 10 focus on the lead ship's weapons, 11 through 20 target their engines. The AI controlling the drones acknowledged and changed tactics. The small machines zipped around the massive Vorax ships, firing precisely at weak points in their armor. "They're adapting," Hanul noted as the Vorax ships began to change their shield patterns. Nemesis units, learn and respond. The battle lasted 3 days. The Mars colony suffered heavy damage, and many lives were lost. 2 Earth battleships were destroyed, but in the end, 5 Vorax warships lay crippled or destroyed. Most importantly, 1 smaller Vorax ship had been captured mostly intact, along with its commander. General Vex of the Vorax Confederacy sat in a special cell designed to hold him. The room was pressurized with the methane-rich air that Vorax needed to breathe. Through a clear wall, he watched humans come and go, studying him as much as he studied them. The door opened, and 2 humans entered the observation room. Vex recognized one as a female who wore the uniform of a major. The other was a male who looked familiar somehow. "I am Major Hanul Park," the female said through a translator. "And this is Captain Jeho Kim." Vex's 4 eyes widened in surprise. "The captain of the Dauntless. You were taken prisoner." Jeho smiled grimly. "I escaped during the battle. Your ships were so busy fighting that they forgot to watch their prisoners carefully." Hanul stepped closer to the clear wall. "We want information, General. How many ships does the Confederacy have? When will they attack Earth?" Vex clicked his mandibles together in what passed for laughter among his kind. "You won a small victory at Mars. Enjoy it while you can. The full might of the Vorax Confederacy will crush your world." "Why?" Jeho asked. "Why attack us at all? There are other solar systems with more resources and no resistance." "Because you exist," Vex said simply. "The Confederacy does not allow independent species to develop. You might become a threat someday." "We're already a threat," Hanul pointed out. "You lost 5 warships. How will your leaders react to that?" For the first time, Vex seemed uncertain. "Such a loss is unexpected. Your species fights with desperation." The others accepted their place. Then deliver this message to your confederacy, Haynul said, leaning forward. Don't you dare to kill humans. This is not desperation you're seeing. It's determination. A week later, a small Vorax transport left Earth orbit carrying General Vex. As part of a prisoner exchange, Earth had returned him for 20 crew members from the Dauntless who had survived captivity. Before his departure, Vex's transport received a transmission. It was Haynul's message, broadcast in the Vorax language on all frequencies. Don't you dare to kill humans. We will not surrender. We will not be enslaved. For every human life you take, we will take 1,000 of yours. On the Vorax homeworld, the High Council watched the message with amusement. They had conquered 17 other species across the galaxy. None had ever resisted for long. They are prideful, said Council Leader Draz, but they will learn, as all the others did. The loss of 5 ships is concerning, another council member noted. A small setback. Draz dismissed the concern. Prepare the invasion fleet. 100 warships should be enough to break their will. Back on Earth, the mood was cautiously optimistic. They had won the first battle, but everyone knew the war had just begun. In the underground base, Jeho reunited with the surviving crew members from the Dauntless. Many had injuries from their time as prisoners. Some would never fully recover. All had the same hard look in their eyes, the look of people who had seen the enemy up close and were ready to fight. What did you learn while you were captive? Admiral Taiwan asked Jeho during the debriefing. They're powerful but arrogant, Jeho replied. They've never faced real resistance before. They don't know how to react to it. And their technology? Advanced, but not magical. They use antimatter for power, gravitic drives for propulsion. Their weapons are energy-based, similar to what we're developing with Project Nemesis, but more refined. Taiwan nodded. Can we beat them? Jeho thought for a moment. They outnumber us. They have more ships, more weapons, more soldiers. By all logic, we should lose. But, Taiwan prompted. But they don't understand humans, Jeho said firmly. They don't understand what we'll do to protect our home. They've never faced a species that would rather die fighting than live as slaves. Haynul, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. While I was sending the message to Vex's ship, I detected transmissions between their vessels. I think I found a pattern in how they communicate during battle. Can we use that? Sujin asked. Maybe, Haynul replied. I'm working with the tech team to develop a way to disrupt their communications. If we can make their ships unable to coordinate with each other, we might have a chance. Taiwan looked at the large screen showing Earth's defenses. They had weeks, maybe months before the main Vorax fleet arrived. Every day was precious time to prepare. The first wave of their attack will come soon, he said. Their pride is hurt. They'll want to prove their power quickly. He turned to the group. We need to be ready not just to defend, but to make them regret ever finding our planet. Jeho nodded grimly. They started this war thinking we would be easy prey. We need to finish it by making them fear the very name of humanity. Outside the base, the people of Earth continued their daily lives under the shadow of invasion. In schools, children practiced emergency drills. In labs, scientists worked on new weapons. In factories, workers built ships and defenses. And in homes across the world, families listened to the news and prepared for the fight of their lives. Humanity had been given a simple choice: submit or die. They had chosen a third option: fight and win. 2 years had passed since the first Vorax attack. The war had reached a stalemate. 3 major attacks on Earth had been pushed back with heavy losses on both sides. The Vorax couldn't break through Earth's defenses, and humans couldn't reach the Vorax homeworlds. In his lab beneath the Korean mountains, Chief Science Officer Do Hyun-yoon worked day and night studying Vorax technology. The walls were covered with diagrams and equations. Parts from damaged Vorax ships lay on tables around the room. I think I've got it. Do-hyun said to himself as he looked at his latest simulation. The holographic display showed a new kind of engine, one that could travel faster than light in a way the Vorax couldn't track. He quickly called Admiral Ta-won, who arrived within the hour along with Captain Jae-ho and Major Hae-nul. "This better be important," Ta-won said gruffly. Sleep was a luxury in wartime, and the Admiral had been awake for nearly 20 hours already. "I figured out how their faster-than-light travel works," Do-hyun explained, pointing to his diagrams. "And I've designed a new system that works differently. If we build ships with these engines, we could reach the Vorax colonies without them detecting us until we arrive." Jae-ho studied the designs with interest. "How soon could we build this?" "The prototype is already being assembled," Do-hyun said proudly. "We salvaged parts from the Vorax ships we captured. With your approval, Admiral, we could have a working ship in 3 months." Ta-won nodded slowly. "Good work. But even with this new engine, we don't have enough firepower to attack their main worlds." "We might not need to," Hae-nul said. All eyes turned to her. "I've been working with Ambassador Sunmai on something that could change the war." In a secure communication room nearby, Ambassador Sunmai sat before a special transmitter. For months, she had been reaching out to other species conquered by the Vorax, looking for any who might help Earth. The screen lit up, showing a thin, pale alien with large eyes. This was Tal Vols, a leader of the Kilari resistance. The Kilari had been under Vorax rule for over 100 years. "Ambassador Sunme," Tal Vols greeted her. "I have news. The Benvori have agreed to join our alliance." Sunme smiled. This was a breakthrough. The Kilari and Benvori were two of the largest species in the Vorax Confederacy. "That's excellent news. Have you considered our proposal?" "We have," Tal Vols replied. "It is risky. If we fail, the punishment will be severe, but we have watched what humans have accomplished. Your resistance has given our people hope for the first time in generations. Then you'll help us." "Yes, we will coordinate attacks on Vorax supply bases when your ships arrive. The Benvori will disable the planetary defense systems. All we need are weapons and a clear signal to begin." After the call ended, Sunmai reported to the Defense Council. The room was filled with military and political leaders from around the world. "They've watched what we've accomplished," Sunmai told them. "They're ready to rise up, but they need our help." Jae-ho stood up. "With Do-hyun's new FTL drive and support from the Kilari and Benvori, we could strike directly at the Vorax infrastructure, cut off their supplies, free their slave worlds, and force them to pull back their invasion fleet." The council debated for hours. Some thought it was too risky to divide their forces. Others believed it was their best chance to turn the tide of the war. Finally, Ta-won made the decision. "Captain Jae-ho will lead the flagship Aurora with our new FTL drive. Major Hae-nul will coordinate communications with the resistance. Your mission is to deliver weapons to the Kilari and Benvori and support their uprising while our forces here keep the Vorax fleet occupied." 3 months later, the Aurora was ready. It was Earth's most advanced ship, built with a mix of human and adapted Vorax technology. Its hull was black, designed to absorb rather than reflect scans. The new engines glowed with a soft purple light. Jae-ho stood on the bridge with his crew. Many were veterans from the Dauntless, including Hae-nul as his second-in-command. Do-hyun had come along as well to monitor the new engines. "All systems ready, Captain," reported Officer Dae-sung, who now had a mechanical arm to replace the one he lost during his time as a Vorax prisoner. "Begin launch sequence," Jae-ho ordered. "Prepare for FTL jump as soon as we clear Earth orbit." The Aurora rose smoothly from its underground hangar, hidden in the mountains. As it reached space, sensors showed 3 Vorax patrol ships nearby. "They've spotted us," Hae-nul warned. "Not for long," Jae-ho said with a grim smile. "Activate FTL drive." Do-hyun pressed a series of controls. The new engines hummed loudly, and stars outside the viewports stretched into lines of light. The Aurora jumped into faster-than-light travel, leaving the Vorax patrols behind. It worked, Du-hyun exclaimed. We're traveling at 10 times the speed of Vorax ships, and our energy signature is completely different. They won't be able to follow us. Jae-ho nodded. Set course for the Kilari homeworld. We have a rebellion to start. The Aurora's mission was dangerous but vital. Over the next month, they visited 4 worlds controlled by the Vorax. At each stop, they delivered weapons to waiting resistance fighters and helped coordinate attacks on Vorax bases. The Kilari proved to be fierce fighters once armed. Centuries of oppression had made them patient but determined. The Benvori were skilled with technology and quickly learned to hack Vorax systems. On the Benvori homeworld, Jae-ho and Hae-Newell met with resistance leaders in an underground bunker. For generations, we believed resistance was impossible, said Lan, the Benvori leader. The Vorax told us they were invincible. Then we heard about Earth, a small, young world that fought back and survived. We're still fighting, Hae-Newell reminded him. The war isn't over. But you've changed everything, Lan insisted. Your message has spread across the galaxy. Don't you dare to kill humans. It has become a rallying cry on 17 worlds. Jae-ho looked around at the gathered aliens, species that had been enemies of each other under Vorax rule, now working together. Together, we can end Vorax dominance. Not just for Earth, but for all of you. Back on Earth, the coordinated attack had begun. As rebel forces struck Vorax bases across their empire, the Confederacy found itself fighting on multiple fronts for the first time. Supply lines were cut, communication centers destroyed. Entire planets rose up against their oppressors. Supreme Commander Krull, watching his carefully built empire begin to crack, was furious. He summoned his top generals to the war room on the Vorax homeworld. How is this happening? He demanded. How can primitives and slaves challenge us? The humans have united them, explained his chief strategist. They've given weapons and tactics to the Kilari and Benvori. 17 worlds are now in open rebellion. And where is our fleet? Krull asked. Divided, fighting rebellions on multiple fronts. We've lost 30% of our supply capacity. Krull's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of extreme anger. Recall all available ships. I will lead the final assault on Earth myself. Once the humans are destroyed, the other species will lose hope. But Commander, one general objected, if we pull ships from the colonies, we risk losing more territory. I don't care, Krull shouted. The humans have humiliated us for too long. Their defiance endangers our control of the entire galaxy. I want Earth reduced to ash. On the Aurora, Jae-ho received an urgent message from Earth Command. Huge numbers of Vorax ships were pulling back from the outer colonies, regrouping for what appeared to be a massive attack on Earth. They're desperate, Hae-Newell said as they studied the Vorax fleet movements. We've hurt them badly. Jae-ho nodded. But they're still dangerous. Maybe more dangerous than ever. We need to get back to Earth. As the Aurora prepared to jump back to their home system, Jae-ho addressed the crew over the intercom. We've accomplished something incredible, he told them. We've helped free billions of people across 17 worlds. But now our own world faces its greatest threat. Krell is gathering every ship he has for one final attack on Earth. He paused, looking at the determined faces around him. The Vorax thought they could simply add Earth to their collection of conquered worlds. They thought we would submit like the others. They were wrong. And now we've shown the galaxy that the Vorax can be defeated. The Aurora's engines powered up for the jump home, where the final battle awaited. The sky over Earth was filled with stars and with warships. Nearly 200 Vorax vessels had gathered for their final attack. It was the largest fleet ever assembled by the Confederacy, led by Supreme Commander Krell himself. In the command center beneath Seoul, Admiral Ta-Won watched the enemy ships on the giant screen. Reports came in from defense stations around the world. Everyone was at their post. Every weapon was ready. Status of Project Nemesis? Ta-Won asked. Defense Minister Su Jin checked her tablet. All systems online. The planetary shield can activate on your command. Orbital platforms are charged and ready. For 2 years, Project Nemesis had been more than just combat drones. It was a complete defense system that included a planetary shield and weapons platforms that could harness the sun's energy. Earth had put everything into this final defense. Any word from the Aurora? Taiwan asked. They've just entered the solar system, Sujin replied. Captain Jaiho reports they'll reach Earth in 2 hours. Taiwan nodded. That might be too late. Krill won't wait. As if to confirm his words, the Vorax fleet began to move. The first wave of ships entered Earth's upper atmosphere, firing their weapons. Cities around the world activated their local shields as explosions lit up the sky. Activate the planetary shield, Taiwan ordered. Sujin pressed a series of commands. Around the world, massive generators powered up. A shimmering blue field began to form in the atmosphere, spreading until it covered the entire planet. The next wave of Vorax attacks hit the shield and dissipated. Shield holding at 80%. An officer reported. Launch Nemesis drones. Taiwan commanded. Target their lead ships. Hundreds of small black drones rose from hidden bases around the planet. They passed through the shield and swarmed toward the Vorax fleet. Unlike the earlier models, these drones were more advanced, each one carrying weapons that could seriously damage a Vorax warship. The battle for Earth had begun. Aboard the Aurora, Jaiho watched the battle unfold on the main screen. They were racing toward Earth at maximum speed, but the fight would be well underway before they arrived. Can we go any faster? He asked Do-hyun. The engines are already past safe limits, Do-hyun replied, checking the systems. Any more power, and we risk burning them out. Hanul stood beside Jaiho, her face grim. We need to do more than just join the battle. We need to end it. I know, Jaiho agreed. That's why we're going after Krall's flagship. The plan was risky but necessary. While Earth's defenses kept the Vorax fleet busy, the Aurora would use its advanced stealth technology to approach Krall's flagship. A small team would board the ship and disable its command systems, throwing the entire Vorax fleet into disarray. We'll be in range in 90 minutes, Officer Dae-sung reported. Jaiho nodded. Prepare the strike team. We get one chance at this. On Earth, the battle was not going well. The planetary shield was down to 40% power. Several cities had lost their local shields and were taking heavy damage. Millions of people had died in the first hours of the attack. But humanity was fighting back hard. The Nemesis drones had destroyed dozens of Vorax ships. Ground-based weapons fired continuously at any ship that got too close. Pilots in small fighter craft launched suicidal attacks on Vorax engines. In the command center, Admiral Taiwan received a new report. Sir, the shield can't take much more. We estimate failure within the hour. Taiwan's face showed no fear. Activate the solar array. This was their last resort. Orbital platforms designed to collect solar energy and focus it into a weapon. The technology was experimental and could only be used once. Array charging. Sujin confirmed. It will be ready in 30 minutes. We need to hold until then, Taiwan said firmly. And we need to warn the Aurora to stay clear of the firing zone. Supreme Commander Krall watched the battle from his flagship with growing frustration. The humans were supposed to break quickly under the massive attack. Instead, they kept fighting, even as their cities burned. Their shield is failing, one of his officers reported. We're detecting a new energy buildup in their orbital platforms. They're planning something, Krall realized. Increase the attack. Break their shield before they can use whatever weapon they're charging. More Vorax ships moved forward, concentrating their fire on key points in Earth's shield. The blue barrier flickered and weakened. The Aurora approached the edge of the battle, its stealth systems making it nearly invisible against the backdrop of space. Jaiho, Hanul, and Do-hyun prepared to lead the strike team. Each wore armor made from modified Vorax technology, and carried weapons designed specifically to work against Vorax systems. "We'll dock with their engineering section," Jai-Ho explained to the team. "Do-hyun will disable their engines while Hae-Nul and I head for the command center. Our goal is to capture Kral if possible, or at least disable the ship's ability to coordinate the fleet." A message came through from Earth Command. Admiral Taiwan's face appeared on the screen. "Captain, we're activating the solar array in 20 minutes. You need to stay clear of these coordinates." A map appeared, showing nearly half the battle zone. "Sir, we're about to board Kral's flagship," Jai-Ho replied. "It's in the middle of that zone." Taiwan's expression was grim. "Then you have 20 minutes to complete your mission and get out. We can't delay the firing." "Understood. Aurora out." Jai-Ho turned to his team. "Change of plans. We have 20 minutes to get in, complete the mission, and get out before Earth fires its main weapon." The Aurora slipped quietly alongside the massive Vorax flagship. Small breaching pods launched from its hull, attaching to the Vorax ship like parasites. Inside each pod, members of the strike team cut through the alien hull and entered. Jai-Ho, Hae-Nul, and Do-hyun moved quickly through the ship's corridors. They had studied Vorax ship layouts from captured vessels and knew exactly where to go. When Vorax soldiers appeared, they were quickly stunned by the humans' weapons. "Engine room," Do-hyun said as they reached a massive chamber filled with pulsing blue energy cores. "Give me 5 minutes." "You have 3, Jai-Ho replied. "Hae-Nul and I will head to the command center." As Do-hyun began placing small devices on the engine controls, Jai-Ho and Hae-Nul continued through the ship. They encountered more resistance as they got closer to the command center, but their surprise attack gave them the advantage. Finally, they reached the main door to the bridge. Hae-Nul placed an explosive charge, and they took cover. The blast blew the door open, and they rushed in, weapons ready. Supreme Commander Kral turned in surprise as the humans entered. His 4 eyes widened in recognition when he saw Jai-Ho. "You," he hissed, "the captain from the first contact." "It's over, Kral," Jai-Ho said, his weapon pointed at the Vorax commander. "Order your fleet to stand down." Kral's mandibles clicked in what might have been laughter. "Never. Even if you kill me, my ships will continue the attack until your world is ash." "Then we'll do this the hard way," Hae-Nul said, placing another device on the main control panel. "In about 2 minutes, every system on this ship will shut down, and in 15 minutes, Earth will fire a weapon that will destroy half your fleet." "You were warned," Jai-Ho added. "We told you not to kill humans." Kral lunged at them suddenly, his natural armor deflecting their first shots. Jai-Ho was knocked aside, but Hae-Nul managed to land a stunning blow to Kral's head. "Why fight so hard?" Kral asked as he struggled to stay upright. "Other species accepted their fate. Why are humans different?" Jai-Ho got back to his feet. "Because we've spent our entire history fighting. Sometimes each other, sometimes our environment, sometimes our own limitations. We don't know how to surrender, and we never will." Hae-Nul's device activated, and the lights on the bridge flickered and died. Emergency systems came on, bathing everything in red light. "Time to go," Hae-Nul said urgently. 10 minutes until the solar array fires." Jai-Ho nodded. Instead of killing Kral, they bound him and dragged him with them. The living Vorax commander would be valuable for the peace negotiations that would follow, if they survived. The Aurora detached from the Vorax flagship with minutes to spare. As they pulled away, they saw other Vorax ships in confusion. Without commands from their leader, the fleet's coordinated attack was falling apart. "Earth Command, this is the Aurora," Jai-Ho transmitted. "Mission accomplished. We have Kral, and we're clear of the firing zone." On Earth, Admiral Taiwan gave the final order. "Fire the solar array." The orbital platforms that had been gathering energy from the sun focused their power into a single devastating beam. It cut through space and hit the heart of the Vorax fleet. Ships caught in the beam simply vaporized. Others nearby were crippled by the energy wave that followed. In a single moment, half the Vorax fleet was destroyed or disabled. The remaining ships began to retreat, fleeing Earth as quickly as they could. Without Krall's leadership and facing unexpected devastation, the Vorax had lost their will to fight. 1 month later, representatives from 18 species gathered on a neutral space station. Ambassador Sunmai led the human delegation. Beside her stood Jaiho, Lenul, and Admiral Tawan. Across from them sat the new leaders of the Vorax Confederacy, forced to the negotiating table by their defeat at Earth and the rebellion of their former subjects. The terms are not negotiable, Sunmai stated firmly. The liberation of all conquered species, the establishment of a new galactic council where all races will have equal representation, and a permanent ban on conquest and slavery. The Vorax delegates had no choice but to agree. Their empire had crumbled. The species they had ruled for centuries were now free and allied with humanity. As the first meeting of the new Galactic Council convened, Ambassador Sunmai addressed them. Today marks a new era. The Vorax thought they could subjugate us all, one by one, but they made one critical mistake. They killed humans, and we warned them not to. Now we extend that warning to anyone who would threaten peace in this galaxy. Don't you dare to kill humans, or our allies. The warning that had begun as defiance had become a promise of protection that echoed across the stars. ****, the end ****.